Thank you for joining Next Level with Trenace. I am so happy that you're spending 60 minutes, give or take, of your 1,440 minutes of your Saturday with me. You know, I read an article maybe about 2 weeks ago, and it talks about the difference reading to your children actually makes. It is such a pleasure to speak with a fellow author and of all things children's books.
Yeah, thank you very much. It took a while to write those children's books. I wasn't too for sure exactly what I wanted to write about, but as soon as my wife had the baby, I kind of instantly knew what type of books to write about.
So let's jump right in because I've been excited to speak with you really all week because that's my next goal, a children's book. I have a list of them. So let's jump right in. Let's talk about baby authors. When did that start?
So baby authors started in the year 2015. That's the year that Anaya was born. Maybe about 6 months into that year, after her birthday, is when I decided to come out with some children's books. I had wrote some stories down on a piece of paper, and when she was in the womb, I was reading those stories to her, and just trying to get her to kick, and and kind of like how you feel the baby's hands through her stomach, type of deal. So I was trying to stimulate her when she was in the womb. So it started back in 2015.
So could you share with the process of writing? Is the process that you use, is that similar to what others write, the way others write children's book, or what does your process look like writing these books?
Okay, so I have a very unique process. So the children's books are just the cream of the crop of the books I started. I have a total of 32 books out on the market today. And what I learned back in the day when I was writing my own books, sometimes you would get inspired by reading somebody's material by saying, hey, you know what, if this person wrote this type of story, I can write my story. But when it came down to children's, I saw a reoccurring theme, and I said, you know what, let me just focus on what's making me happy in my life. Why don't I revert back to, how happy I was in my childhood or what I wanted to have happen in my childhood. So I write from that perspective. So when I'm writing any type of children's book now, I only focus on the times that I'm playing with my daughter, or my wife and I were playing with our daughter, and we're trying to figure out, okay, what made her laugh, what made her smile, or what did she say to us what did we say to her that she's repeating back to us, and how can we apply it to the children's books? So we have a 5-book children's series. So Anaya's Trip to the Rainbow, Anaya's Trip to Space, Anaya's Road Trip, Anaya's Haunted Halloween, and Anaya's Trip to Atlantis. These stories were written not just a couple of years ago, but I didn't put the illustrations to them because I was trying to figure out, okay, how do I play with my daughter? Like, how do I bring up this story to expand her imagination? So my writing process is different. It comes from a playing aspect. So if I go to Chuck E. Cheese or we go to a playground, I pull in all those emotions and then I write them down on paper.
Oh, well, that's so interesting because I actually did some research on you because I wanted to know who I was going to be talking to because you were writing children's books. So I know that before this, you were writing other books, a lot of other books. I saw you on Amazon. And I also saw that you have 2 books currently in Walmart. Can you tell me, that's so exciting. For anyone to have a book in right there in Walmart. So can you tell me share it with everyone else what that story looks like? Because I listened to it, and, oh, my God, I was like, that was meant to happen. So could you share with our listening audience the process of how you got in Walmart?
Absolutely. It's a process that, I still can't believe until this day. But when Anaya was born in the year 2015, I knew I had this vision to just be like just a better person, a better dad, all the above. So I said, well, I bet you if I get my books inside of Walmart, it'll change our lives. I think that's what every parent is looking for, just to change their lives and make a better place for their kids, right? So we were staying in Florida, and I told my wife, I said, hey, I know a place. I've been there before. I have some family in Arkansas, but I think we should move to Arkansas and try to get these children's books inside of Walmart. So she said, okay, no problem. I'll trust you. And if we don't, if we don't get them in Walmart, what are we going to do? I said, well, we're just going to keep on trying. So we moved up to Arkansas, and I didn't know exactly how the process went with Walmart. Like, how do you get a product inside of Walmart? So I decided to take one of my employees with me, actually, up to Walmart headquarters. And I said, well, I was going to try to weasel my way in and, see how to do it. As I was on my way up to Walmart headquarters, there was a gentleman coming out, and that gentleman just so happened to be the vice president of Walmart. So I didn't know who he was. He looked like a regular dude, so I just bumped into him, and I said, hey, excuse me, sir, can you tell me how do I get my children's books inside of Walmart? And he said, well, tell me more. So I did my elevator pitch, and he said, you know what, do you have a business card? I said, yes, I do. He said, well, my name is James Cameron. I'm the vice president of Walmart. I'm the person that you need to talk to. And in that moment, I knew it was meant to be in that moment. So I'm shaking. I'm nervous. I can't believe it, because I thought this guy was just a regular person. So he took my business card. He said, I'm going to put you in contact with the book buyer. About 3 days later, the book buyer contacted me via email, and then we scheduled a meeting. And I asked the book buyer, I said, hey, do you mind if my wife and my daughter come into this meeting, because I really want my daughter to be familiar with this atmosphere, because I knew by bringing my family in that the book buyer would see how serious I am about children's books. She'll see how serious I am about doing business. And I'm just trying to teach a lesson to my daughter, And at the time, Anaya, she was like 6 or 7 months, so she wouldn't really understand. But putting kids in that atmosphere, believe it or not, they do end up recognizing and becoming familiar with certain things. So she allowed me to do it. We ended up negotiating a deal with Walmart. And I guess it's been 4 years now. We have 2 books inside of Walmart. We got the 3rd book that's getting ready to go in soon. They're just updating it, and that's my success story of how to get my books inside of Walmart.
I love the idea that you wanted to put family in, and I really love the thought of putting your daughter Anaya in a space where she was learning and she didn't really realize that she was learning. That sounds like number one, family and family business. So is Baby Author, is that a family business?
Yes, absolutely. It's a family business. That was the main goal. And for anybody who's listening, I started Baby Authors to basically become a bank for Anaya. I realized what my family struggled with. I realized what I struggled with coming up. So I said, well, how do I get some money started for my daughter early so she don't have to go through what I went through by, going to the bank and, getting denied for a loan or not having enough money to even just start an idea. So Baby Authors was solely based off of a dad, or really a husband and a wife, if you will, trying to start something or leave something behind for their daughter so she can pull from it financially.
So legacy, that is really great.
Definitely.
A lot of times we don't consider legacy right away, and it's so important. What if our child doesn't go to college? Because you are a parent, as I am, when as your daughter is growing, because I guess she's 5 right now, is that correct?
She's about to be 5.
Okay. So now at this age, this is when they start looking at the world to figure out, what do I want to be? So is she saying that yet, or what type of young conversations are you having with Anaya?
So that's fantastic that you asked that, because I just started a podcast with her, and I'm doing my own research by asking her certain questions. And what I've noticed about her is she do like to draw, and she likes to paint. So I'm trying to be that parent who I'm showing her different things about different careers, and I'm not pressuring her to step into the so-called family business. I'm just trying to get her to understand that this is how we conduct business. So I don't want to be disappointed if she decides to do something else as she gets older. I just want to be supportive, and I'm just only basing that off of the things that happened to me as I was growing up. So I didn't, I got support, but they would rather have seen me do certain things that they wanted me to do. So for me, talking to her, I'm just trying to see what she's interested in, and she seems to be interested in art.
Come through, Dream Protector. Not the dream killer, but the dream protector. That is so awesome. And you hit a nail right on the head when you said that parents, me too, we kind of want our children to be what we want them to be, what we see in them. But I believe that you were an author. You were born to be an author. You were born to be an entrepreneur. And the reason that I believe that is because it was a thought in your head to do. So that's what you were purposed. That was what you were purposed here to do. And the fact when you keep trying and keep trying and keep trying, you have a lot of books before you reached this goal right here. This is what you were made to do. This is what you were built to do. That is so awesome that you're teaching your daughter. You're protecting her dreams. And us creators are, you know, how we can be.
Yep.
So
yeah, I noticed that.
So as an author and an entrepreneur, how and when do you think it's time to start a family business?
Okay, so for me, just by example, right, because everything I'm doing is from experience, I believe that if you're going to start a family business, this is what I really do believe this, you have to start with your kids extremely young so it looks normal to them, right? And it's not pressure. It's like something that, oh, I'm supposed to do this. But in order for that to happen, you and your spouse or you and your significant other or partner, however you want to call it, you two have to be in agreement by saying, hey, we're going to make this look like this is just what it is. Because when it becomes normal to the child, for me, my daughter realizes that she goes, well, business first, play later. So that's something that I've been saying to her ever since she was like maybe 8 months, you know, and I will always say it to her so she can understand. Do your business first and you can play as much as you want afterwards because you're going to need some type of money to go play. In most cases, you know, when you become an adult, you want to take a vacation, you know, you got to work up some money to go take that vacation and you want to have a good vacation or whatever. So I think you should start a family business when your kids are extremely young. That way they know that way it seems like it's normal to them. You know, it's a little bit of a reverse psychology. I don't know if it's the bad thing to do, but I know now that Anaya, she notices that, hey, my daddy got some books on hand. If we're out and about, he's trying to sell some books, I'm going to help my daddy sell some books, you know, type of deal.
Family values are very important. There are our children, but my children are adults now. When I was growing up and even as you were growing up, there were people in entertainment and sports areas. There were people that we admired. And, I mean, I think that's nice. There's a reason why I don't use celebrity, and the reason that I don't use celebrity because I believe I'm a celebrity. I believe you're a celebrity. So within us, we are all celebrities. We have the ability to influence the people around us. So that's why I don't use celebrity. But because I believe that I am a celebrity and you're a celebrity, and there are a lot of people in the past that believe that they shouldn't be your children's role model. Would you agree or disagree with that?
No, I think you should be your kid's role model because they're around you so much. And I'm glad you said that about the comparison about celebrity. I feel the same way. I know I'm a celebrity, but not the celebrity in the sense that, you know, I'm not touchable type of deal. But I'm trying to be the biggest influence to my daughter as much as possible, you know, because she sees, you know, when they're kids, they have to look up. So they see you as a big, strong, you know, person. And not that I want to discourage her from thinking that I'm not strong, but I want her to put all the responsibility on me as a parent, saying that, hey, my dad's going to take care of me. You know, I respect my dad. He's doing everything he can. So, yeah, you are a role model. No matter if you're even if you're just out and about doing your own thing, kids, they're watching, and I've noticed that. You know, they're watching and they pick up little characteristics from all sorts of people, and then they'll bring it back home, and then you'll look at your kid and say, hey, where'd you get that from? So, yeah, I'm definitely a role model. My wife is the biggest role model to my daughter because she looks up to her so much. And, yeah, I think anybody who has any amount of children, you have to understand that your kids, they're looking to you and they're trusting in you to lead and guide them the right way.
So let's talk about depending on others to teach your children success. And I'm asking that as a follow-up question because I really believe that the power of the community begins in the home. Definitely believe that. So it just struck me so, it just really struck me that when I was reading the information about you, that you felt that way. So can you tell me about what that means to you? Your children not depending on others to teach them success.
Right. So charity to me, it starts at home, right? Leading by example starts at home. So what I've realized, and this pandemic actually kind of brought it out a little bit more. What I realized that I've read in articles and hearing conversations that a lot of parents feel like, well, the school system isn't teaching my kids how to do real estate. They're not teaching them how to do income tax. They're not teaching them how to do X, Y, and Z. So I go, well, wait a minute. Now, this is my research. Research says that from 2012 up until now, the App Store has been available. And in those App Stores, you can teach your kids how to build a house. You can teach your kids real estate. You can teach your kids how to be a DJ. You can teach them how to paint. So you don't have to wait on the school system to make your kids successful. You can make your children successful yourself, even if you don't know it. I don't know how to build a house, but I get on the app, I get on a game, and I'm learning how to build a house with my daughter. So this is all trial and error. You don't have to wait on you should not wait until your kids turn 18 and say, hey, go make some money. You're out on your own. You could be doing that now. So don't depend on other people to make your kids successful. You can make your children successful. They spend the most time with you anyway. I know you go to work and you have to send them off to school, but they're still around you the most. So you have every opportunity at whatever age to make your kids successful. You do not have to wait until they're old enough to learn how to start counting money. Anaya was putting money, we were putting money in her account under her name at 6 months. So it starts as early as you want it to start, but do not depend on other people to make your kids successful.
That is an important part of community. Some parts of community we're not taught that. In my age bracket, we weren't taught any of that. It was trial and error because the information was not available. But so much information is available to us now. We don't sometimes take advantage of all the opportunities or resources to access the things that are available. There are so many programs that are actually available that do teach real estate, that do teach even writing. I do a writing program, so there's so much things that are available. The only thing we have to do is look, and it's right there. The internet is a wealth of information. It's not just Facebook.
Yep.
Now you mentioned your children are making money. What age do you want your children to start making money?
Yeah, so I made her start at 6 months. When we made her the author of those books and basically an employee of Baby Author, she started making money at 6 months. She was getting, at first, we were giving her 50% of the royalty sales. And then once we got that deal with Walmart, I just went ahead and bumped it up to 90%, and me and my wife take 10%. So she started that at 6 months, good 6 months, 7 months, and she's been making money. We've been putting money in her account ever since then. So she's 4 years old. So we take our income tax. We give, you know how we get, as parents, we get an income tax for our children. So we take that income tax and we just slowly put it right into her account. So that's part of our way of not only just saving, but kind of just giving it back to her because, yeah, you file your taxes and the government gives you a break because you have a kid. And what I realized about that was I said, well, I remember growing up and I don't remember getting any money from my parents and they never had saved anything for me. So, again, when you become your own parent, you do the things that you want to change that your parents didn't do towards you. So I wanted to make sure that Anaya started making money as soon as possible because I'm only basing this off experience. Experience says to Darshaun, you know what, my parents, they didn't do a good job financially with me here. Let me do this with my daughter. Let me start as soon as possible. Let me get some things going as quick as I can. So To anybody who's listening, I say start as soon as possible. Start putting money away as soon as possible. Don't just take that income tax and just spend it. Put some of it away, especially if you get to claim your kids for 18 years. Just bless them with a head start when they graduate high school.
That is really dope. I hadn't thought about that. Maybe that'll be a great idea for my grandchildren, because I'm definitely I have three, so I think I'm gonna have to buy a book for each one, their own set of books, because they don't like to share with each other very much. So I looked at your website, babyauthors.com, and I looked at the books. I was like, okay, these little girls are brown little girls. That made my heart smile. That really made my heart smile. So I'm going to assume that Anaya is your little Anaya.
Yes, that's her. And what I did with those books was so you see 5 books on the web page. That 5th book, which is titled Anaya's Trip to Atlantis, she will be 5 years old in that actual edition. So each book was basically when she was 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And what I was trying to do, I was trying to show my daughter that, hey, this is you, right? And there are going to be other kids who are going to read about you, and you're a beautiful black little girl. You're whatever, just like raising up her spirit. So I wanted people to see that this is a real character. All the other characters I've seen, they didn't look real. They don't represent young black girls, or is some type of animal or something like that. So I said, well, let me be the change that I want to see. So I started writing stories about my daughter and just uplifting her. And let me tell you, it worked. It worked. Everything that I thought that I was doing has been working. Bringing her to the business meetings, writing books about her, sharing those stories with her, reading to her before she goes to bed, reading different books with her that she has no clue what they're about. It helps her become a competent communicator. So everything that you see on babyauthors.com is 100% intentional.
You have baby author shoes, baby author socks, baby author backpacks. Very creative. So which socks does your daughter like the best?
She likes the Anaya's Trip to the Rainbow socks, because when we first came out with that book, that book has the biggest impact. That was the book that we did the first deal with Walmart with. So it has the biggest impact. That's the one she cares about the most.
And which backpack does she carry?
She carries the Anaya's Trip to the Rainbow backpack. We have a video.
Matching.
Yeah, she got the shoes, she got the umbrella, she got the book bag, she got the socks, and she wears the socks so much that we have to tell her to put on some different socks, or we have to just make her get a new pair. But she wears them that much. But we have I'm waiting to come out with it. Well, we have a video where we're going to show all the merchandise so everybody can see how it looks. I did some stuff before online. I think I have some stuff up on the website. But, yeah, she enjoys the Anaya Trip to the Rainbow merchandise, and she's just in love with it, and she recognizes herself. And, as a parent, that's everything that I dreamed of. As long as she can tell that she's a character from a story, it helps out a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure it builds confidence.
It sure does. It builds a lot of confidence.
Builder. So what do you think would be 3 takeaways? Normally I do 3 takeaways only, but for you, I got to have 6 takeaways for you, because you're an author, you're an entrepreneur, and you are a parent. So what I would like 3 takeaways that you would like the creative person to come away with from our conversation.
Okay, great. So one takeaway, just from the parent aspect, what I would like to say to anybody who's listening is, honestly and wholeheartedly, really think about your future and really envision it as a parent, right? What type of man do you want to be in your household? What type of leadership and guidance do you want to show your children? Because when you think like that, you're going to lead by example, and that's the biggest thing that any man or any parent can do. is lead by example. So that's one. As an entrepreneur, the biggest thing I want to say to everyone is you have to sit with your own thoughts first. So don't go sharing it with everybody. Just know that whatever vision you have from waking up from your nap or from a long day work or whatever vision you had, write it down and execute it, right? So depend on yourself to get it done. And then once you have it in your hand that's tangible, then you start sharing it with people. But when you start to share it, you're sharing it because you're about to sell it. And you said the other takeaway is, what was it, an author?
Yes.
Okay. So now the author part, that's a tricky one because sometimes people have a tendency to be a little unmotivated, and they come up with this an excuse for writer's block, when really it's just you have to sit well with your thoughts, be confident in who you are as a writer. And I noticed that sometimes when I would write, I would see some grammatical errors, and I would go back and backspace and fix it. So as a writer, as an author, just keep on writing, and you finish the story later. So worry about the grammatical errors later. Get your story down. Stay in that mode of staying focused. Try to do your best to write at least 15 pages a day. So give yourself 30 minutes to an hour. Tell your family, hey, give me a moment. I'm trying to knock out some pages, and when I get these pages done, I'm going to get back with you guys. Just give me a moment. It's really important to me because you're the author of your own story. You create it, right? No one can create your story for you, so you have to tell your story as best as you know how.
15 pages, that just blew me away. I don't write like 15 pages. I just sit and write. Are you serious? That is some serious time, 15 pages. Do you handwrite
that's
everything?
where I got started. That's where I got started.
Really?
That's how I got started. I when I didn't have a job, I treated my books as my 9 to 5. So I would do my best to write 15 pages within an hour. And I would sit there all day until I figured out what is it that I'm good at. Was it poetry? Is it telling romance stories? I tried some children's stories way back in the day, but since I didn't have kids, it didn't really work out. It wasn't authentic, So I know that the 15 pages, at least a day or within an hour, it'll help out a lot.
15 pages. You just blew me away.
Well, you got to be in your mode. You got to stay in your mode. Put your headphones on. Don't have anybody bother you. It sounds like a lot, but when you're in that groove, you knock it out. You knock it out. Because on average, each chapter is about 7 to 15 pages anyway.
I can hear the excitement in your voice with this writing. I can hear this excitement in your voice.
Yeah, this is what I do. This is people talk to me all the time. They ask me, how to write a book and how do I do this, and I have my own formula. But for the most part, what I know as a foundation is if you're not inspired by your own story, it's not going to come to you any other way. So you have to be inspired by your own story.
So what is next for baby authors and Anaya?
Okay, so what's next for us is we're working on a video game. We're working on a video game, and the production of the animation has taken a pause. So we had an animation scheduled to come out, but when the pandemic virus thing popped off, it kind of messed up a lot of things. So we're working on a video game, which would be available through, the Google Play Store. So we're working on a video game.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to dive into animation. So we changed our protocol a little bit. So we're not only just a publishing company, but we're going to be an animation company, because I want to be able to help other parents, put out books on the commercial market or put out cartoons on the commercial market. So we're expanding when it comes to entertainment. So that's what's next for us.
Now, that brings me back to something I thought of like earlier in the week, because I had so many questions. I didn't want to just take you to myself and not ask questions that I knew that would be important for our listeners. But the art, who does the drawing in the books?
Okay, so my wife and I, we do all the illustrations. I mean, we do have a staff of people, but we are the originators of it. So we'll do all the illustrations, and then we'll have our staff fine tune it, color some things in. So my wife and I, my wife is the main artist. We both have a lot of input into it, though, and
Mhm.
it becomes easier after the first book because once you wrote the first book, now all the staff has to do is really just kind of copy and paste and put her face on excuse me, put her face in different
Bless you.
excuse me, in different angles. But so yeah, we did the illustrations at first, and now we have a team of people that kind of take over and do all the fine tuning.
Do you publish other authors' books?
I do. I've had the opportunity to publish some other children's books that some authors had signed some non-disclosures. They didn't necessarily want us to take the credit for it, which is okay. That's a part of publishing. But yes, I do publish other people's children's books, and if they want to do a deal with us, we'll help promote you and get you inside of the retail stores as quick as we can. And I also have another publishing company where we publish like fiction, nonfiction, romance novels, poetry. So I bring on people on both aspects, whether they want to do a children's book or if it's adult literature.
So you are definitely on the move with some next level things moving and shaking. So how can the people get in touch with you? Are you on social media, Instagram, Facebook, as my one of my sister calls it, the Twitters? Are you on
Yeah.
Twitter?
Yeah, so what I do first and foremost, because I believe in those platforms, but I also know about business, those platforms can shut down. So I always give out my
Mhm.
number first. So my actual number, this is my actual cell phone number, is 918-552-0278. I give out my number because I'm in this world to connect with people, and we're here to talk. I may not be able to help you, but I can get you somewhere. So I give out my number first. Now, as far as Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, I'm on there as Darshaun McAway. We have babyauthors.com, or really for Instagram it's baby authors. But if you go to the website, you'll see our social media icons on there. So I'm on there as Darshaun McAway. If you just Google my name, you're going to run into a huge rabbit hole that goes all the way back until like 2005 up until now. So I'm on social media and I'm fairly active.
All right, that is excellent. What I'm gonna do for you, because this is so exciting. I love community. I love making our children feel confident in how we look, how we breathe, how we think, and it is just so excellent to be able to speak with someone who believes in the importance of community and the importance of positivity in the community. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to buy a couple of your books because I'm about to launch something else, and I think I'm going to make those as giveaways.
Okay, that sounds great. I can tell you now,
So
and it's not a selling. Oh, go ahead.
I'm gonna what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get with you, and would you autograph those copies that I'm gonna give away?
Oh, sure.
You and
Absolutely.
Anaya autograph. No, you and Anaya autograph them.
Okay.
I think
Yeah,
that would
that's
be
not a
pretty
problem at
cool.
all.
All right, now I'm sorry. You were saying I just got excited about this. I love stuff like this. This is just so special, and not enough things like this are brought to the forefront. As much negativity is going on in the world currently, I love to share positive things going on within the community as a whole and people as individuals.
Yeah, I'm doing my best to show the world that we're a family that hasn't been discovered, and not necessarily. And I'm trying to prove a point that what people are seeing about black people or African American people, if you will, what they're seeing about us is such a negative stereotype, and it's so weird to see that, because my wife and I, we're living a different life. We're living a life that we never thought we would experience, and we're like, I hope this doesn't sound cheesy, but we're living the most perfect life that we could ever imagine. So all the chaos that's happening in the world, it's like we see it, and the best way I could help is by writing these stories so a parent can stay at home and stay out of the way of trouble and enjoy that time with your children and be present. So when you purchase these books, anybody who's listening, when you purchase these books, I intentionally wrote it and did the illustrations so you can have a conversation with your child. That way you won't be getting up so fast to go somewhere. So I'm trying to purposely make you spend time, because that's where you need to be.
That is so important, to not rush away from the moments of being with your children. Sitting down to dinner, playing video games, going in their room, just being silly with them, they will appreciate that more than any pair of Jordans that you can buy, any video game that you can buy, because that's going to disappear. And they'll always have that memory of that smile with you, that laugh with you, that time that we went to the park. That is just so super important. And right now is that time for you to reconnect with family as a whole, but with your children specifically, just because they're not going to be children forever, and you don't want to rush away from that moment of them being a child.
Yeah, I agree. I say that all the time. Your kids, they're only going to be kids for a little bit, and they're going to be an adult for a long time. So really enjoy that moment with them while they're small. I know you could be very tired, and sometimes you let the frustrations of the world get you down, but your kids, they don't understand that. All they know is mommy and daddy, right? So just spend that time with them. Trust me, every chance I get, I'm always playing with my daughter. I'm always making her laugh, and I'm always being positive as much as possible.
That is so great. I am looking more forward to what Baby Authors has next, what Darshaun McAway is going to invent next, what the McAway family is actually doing, because it sounds like you're not just one thing. You're an author, an entrepreneur, and you're thinking how you can come up with a creative and witty idea for your next business. And it's coming to you so easy. That's divine.
Yes. All I can say is, as long as I can think back, everything has always been working out for me. And I wish I can find some place to complain. I'm not the perfect person in the world, but at the same time, when it comes to my thoughts and my visions, I really do execute them. And, I thank God for just blessing me with everything He's blessed me with. And my biggest creation, my biggest prized possession is being married and being a father. That's the biggest accomplishment out of everything.
I could talk to you probably for another hour, because what you do is just super exciting. It's new, it's creative, and it's definitely a necessary part of growing better children, developing our community to grow a better world. So thank you so much for spending not exactly 60 minutes with me, but 45. It's been so great having you. You've told me where everybody can find you. I'm going to share that on all of my social media platforms, because I am on Instagram, Facebook, on the Twitters. I'm everywhere. So I'm going to be sharing that, and I think I might put a link to this, to Baby Authors on my website, if that's okay with you.
That's fine. By all means, share as much information as you would like.
Okay, great. I just wanted to get your permission, so that if that led that way, that will be helpful for Baby Authors. So what I'm going to say, thank you to everybody for rocking with me this afternoon. I normally don't say this. I say it all the time, but I normally say it at the beginning. Be safe. Go slow. Cover your mouth when you're coughing and sneezing. stay at home when you're sick. A lot of states are opening, but a lot of states are closing back up. Whatever your state is doing, the ultimate act of self-love is to stay in the house, protect yourself, and protect your family. We all want to go outside, but when I go outside, I want to be able to see everyone and touch everyone that I've talked to and hug everybody. So make sure you all are doing the best that you can to stay protected. Join me next Saturday on Next Level with Trenace, and I'm going to end like I always do. I love you. Be authentic. And thank you for letting me help you be great.